Has your life changed dramatically?
My life has changed dramatically. It's super duper uber busy, constantly something to do, but we found out early on that you have to rest. You've got to take some breaks. There's always going to be something to do when you got kids. That's one thing we realize. So you just got to take some breaks. And hey, it is what it is. Rest, watch your TV shows, sit back, chill out, and just keep each other pumped up. That's all we can do. Sid's doing an amazing job. Phenomenal mother, phenomenal wife. So kudos to my wife. Love her. Even though she's not watching.
Put up with you all for this long.
That too.
Ragdoll men are not the easiest.
They are not, especially being around you is just. Yeah. Anyway, so.
Wow. So is that why you were taking a nap right up until we came on the show?
I took a nap around. I'm not gonna lie. I took a nap around from 4 to 4:15, 4:20. I take really short naps. It's really weird. I just have these really short naps. I wake up but it re-energizes me somehow. So I'll take it.
Sounds good. Already got the first comment. Some college ball.
College ball. Pac-12 is dead. ACC is next. Shout out to Air Raid Mike. What's going on, buddy?
Which, by the way, I was going to ask Mike if you wanted to come on in maybe a couple weeks for a football preview. So on the schedule today, we've got the SEC preview.
Yes.
Next week, we're doing Bama preview. Bama Beat is going to join us, so we'll break down Alabama. So if you ever wanted to miss a week and you hate Alabama, that's the week to skip us. Then I think we've got 2 more weeks afterwards to figure out, probably the week after do a college football preview. But he mentioned, I was going to give you a choice, Raj, on which subject you wanted to start with. What was the sadder thing to happen this weekend? Well, first, let's back up.
Yes.
Thank you to all our listeners out there.
Yes.
Appreciate it if you're joining us live on Twitter, on Facebook, YouTube. Appreciate your comments, questions, anything you got. We'll try to get up on there. If you read our banner, I need some food. I'm also hungry. So thank you for listening. If you're listening to the replay on Spotify, Spotify or Apple Music or iMusic or Sam Music, whatever the stuff is out there that
Sam
you listen
Music
to the podcast. I was gonna say Samsung Music, so I don't know. Amazon Music, Amazon Pod. I don't know, bro. It's been a day. It's been a day for you, apparently. Thank you, everybody, for listening in. So appreciate it.
Yeah.
Well, I had a notebook that I had prepared for the show, and I think I left it at the job I was at.
Okay.
Mad. So.
Right. Yeah, I think I might have left some information elsewhere. So we're gonna wing it. We're gonna figure it out though, like we always do.
What they don't know is we wing it all the time anyway. So
yes. Just like Buffalo Wild Wings. Dad joke. Number one.
You are a dad.
Yes.
That's fair.
Okay.
That's fair. So, what's up to?
Hold on. Before we, I think we have to introduce a new segment.
Okay.
Dad jokes. Yes.
The problem with having it as a segment is we do it all the time anyway.
Okay. Let's just get the dad joke out of the way.
Okay.
Here we go. How do you track Will Smith in the snow?
By his snaps?
You follow his Fresh Prince.
Hey.
I can't tell if you think that's funny or it's just really lame.
I mean, it's funny because
you're mad
because
you didn't get it.
Yeah, because it's so bad. All right. Big Mike talking about the SEC. He'll drop some knowledge on us for sure. And the Big 12 should be thanking OU and our stepbrother Texas for allowing us to save the conference.
I like that subtle jab, stepbrother. Texas, yes.
Oh, you always got to take a jab. So we'll definitely do an all-conference preview of it soon. So what was sadder this weekend, and where do you want to start?
Okay.
The demise of the Pac-12 or the women's national team losing on PKs?
Oh, now that is a good question. They were both very sad because I woke up in time to catch the last few minutes in the PKs, which was really sad.
Oh, that's what you woke up for?
Yeah, I didn't wake up before. With the kid, I couldn't wake up before. So I woke up around like 6 or something, and I was like, okay. And I didn't realize it was going to be, go to overtime and then the PKs. So I would say maybe the Women's World Cup, because we were expected to win. Well, we were selected, I guess, to at least make it to the championship game and win the whole thing, even though you have already mentioned the fact that winning back-to-back and nonetheless even winning 3 in a row is really, really difficult. And we do have a younger team. it's time for younger players to step up. So maybe
and to clarify that there were still some aging stars there like Alex Morgan, Rapinoe. But yes, to your point, they're really trying to phase the youth in.
Yeah.
So that's
and
not doing a good job of it at times.
Yeah, it didn't quite click this time. So I would say I'm going to pick that one. But the demise of the Pac-12 was very, very sad because and I'll give you my top 5 when that time comes. But
well, we'll do Women's World Cup for the first time maybe ever, really quick.
Yes.
It's funny that the U.S. is out of the Women's World. Not funny that they're out, but interesting they're out because ratings. I'm sorry, but we're not watching anymore. So you just lost a huge market. Now, obviously, overseas they're going to be fine. Everybody's cheering for us to lose. But as far as your viewership, like I'm not getting up in the morning anymore to watch any games.
Right.
I hate to start. So first off, I'll start with this note. Me and Big Mike have been getting up for the games. Right. We've woken up for 2 games. In those 2 games, the United States has scored a total of 0 goals.
0 goals, yeah.
In the 2 games that me and Mike woke up for. So I think we have to take part of the blame.
Yeah.
And that falls on me because apparently I kind of guilted Mike into waking up. So I apologize wholeheartedly for that.
Yeah.
The United States had a 60-40 possession in this last game. They had 11 shots to 1, 9 corners.
They just didn't capitalize.
They dominated everywhere. Look, Mike's already talking about it's the worst decision ever. Like getting up at 4 a.m. Because then when you're up at 4 a.m., the game's over at like 6:30, and it's like, do I have time to go back to sleep?
Well, it should have been over at 6, but I think since the overtime and the PKs, that moved it out to like 6:30. So when I woke up, I kind of got lucky because it wasn't over yet. But
but it was. I mean, you could tell people were gassed. We don't do a lot of substituting, but the subs we did do. We subbed out Rodman, which Mike and I were making our jokes that she was going to score on a rebound, but that that didn't happen.
Oh my goodness!
But she seemed one of it looked like at times that she had all our shots in the first half, Raj, and then she she was the first sub out. Then they subbed out Alex Morgan, which I understand she wasn't the best, but they put in Rapinoe, and it's kind of like that aging star, who's holding on at the end, who deserves every accolade who's come her way. Has been one of the best ever, but she was awful, and then to end her career on missing a PK that wasn't even close.
We missed the last 3 PKs, and one of them hit the post, and 2 of them were
it was like 3 out of 4 that we missed. We missed the last 2, and then we made 1 in like the sudden death PKs, and then we missed the next one. And the last one we missed, Rod, was by a sub. So it's like you were subbed in only for PKs. There's only like 2 minutes left in the game.
Yeah.
But Rapinoe missed one. Smith, who's supposed to be one of our next set of stars, missed one. So it was disappointing to lose in that way. You don't feel like the other team won. You feel like you gave it away.
We just gave the game away,
So, and then he couldn't let me be the better American. So, Mike, I apologize, man. I'll on the next time we go out, I'll get your meal for you. How about
just to chime in? I was part of the group text when we were all decided we were going to wake up and watch the game, but then I just getting up before I couldn't do it. So
yes,
I caught the tail end of it, and unfortunately, it was not what we wanted to see.
Look at this, Randy.
What's going on, Randy? Thank you for tuning in, sir.
Yep. I don't know if he's going to still be around because he's a busy guy, but I don't know if he's still going to be around when you break down Georgia's schedule. But there will be at least one surprise in the breakdown of Georgia's schedule. But so usually we hate on people from other schools, I guess. Randy, he's a class act. He handled like I don't know if we were ever on a show and we were 2-time defending champs. Like I don't know how I would act, but definitely class act. Had a lot of fun.
Shout out to Randy.
Him back in the future.
Good guy.
The only time we will not have him back is if Georgia 3-peats. We will not invite him.
We were not inviting Randy back. I can't do it.
Not that week after. So
I couldn't sit here with a straight face and just like asking questions.
I'd be
really Randy.
Yeah.
So okay, Randy. We know.
So that would be the only thing. But so I mean, if the games are at regular time, I might watch some more of the Women's World Cup. But they probably just lost me for the rest. And
Yeah, I'm gonna take a look at the schedule, and like you said, if they're like 2, 3, 4 p.m., whatever the case may be, I'll watch those. But I'm not waking up 2, 3, 4, and I just can't do it
to watch other teams now. Yeah, and the teams that are left, like England, just advanced on PKs this morning. It's interesting if you look at the odds, Rod. England is first, Spain is second, Japan is third. Even though Japan beat Spain 4-0.
I picked Japan to win.
I think
not
Japan
prior.
They're just clinical.
See? Yeah, they're very disciplined. So I think Japan's going to win.
The thing about a three-peat is it's hard.
Yeah.
You saw what the women just did?
Yeah.
So, hey, that means that you guys are going to lose to, like, Vanderbilt.
Tennessee?
That's going to knock you out.
Oh.
Tennessee?
Was I foreshadowing?
Yes.
Okay.
Hey.
Okay.
You're not allowed to say it until we go over that. We're going over every team schedule except Alabama. So
Randy is sitting watching like this right now.
Is he doing the Dr. Evil thing? Is that what
he might be?
But you know what? Like, he has every right to. So one thing I've always not liked about trash, and not that he is one, like I said, class act when he was on the show.
Yeah.
But if you have done it, or you're a fan of the team that has done it, you have every right to say what you want and do what you want. You know, it was like our problem with like the Memphis Grizzlies, the trash they talk and the way they act,
and they couldn't back it up.
Having done it. Yeah,
couldn't even get out of the first round. Yeah.
So I have no problem. Oh, by the way, Mike gave you an excuse. We don't do excuses here, though. That's fine. Like the Twins, like they're just like so, hard to deal with or something. Speaking as a person who has no kids, I just don't think it was all that difficult.
Okay. No comment. Glad Sid's not watching. So,
real quick, before we move on to the demise, don't you hate it when people who don't have kids try to tell you stuff?
Yes, Sidney and I have had a discussion about that, and they always try to give you this advice, and you're like, you don't know how to take it. You listen to them, and you're just polite, but you're like, oh, we don't know if I don't know. But I mean, we do appreciate all the support and the kind words and all the help that everybody's given us. So we're doing good, and Sid's doing good. We're doing good, and we're chucking along.
Well, good. T-Ball, by the way, Ross chimed in and said he liked your Will Smith joke. So
thank you, T-Ball. Thank you, T-Ball.
All right, so
all right.
I was settling for some Big Ten talk when I saw you guys try to build as quickly as possible. I'd rather hear SEC talk. Well, we're going to get to that in just a second after we talk about the demise of the Pac-12. So if you got time to hold out for you, we definitely appreciate it. Not a Big Ten fan down here, so it's my first as a world champ. Congratulations, appreciate that.
Thank you, Randy. Much appreciated, sir. And I will definitely try to get one of them on one of these episodes. They have these 3-hour windows before they eat, so they don't eat again until 9 since they ate at 6 or fed them or whatever you want to call it. So now they are just resting. So
Sweden. It's interesting that Sweden is ranked 3rd.
Yeah,
because if you look at the odds right now, they're 6th.
Yeah.
So sometimes I don't know. Does Vegas know more than anybody else? Who knows?
But they barely got out of this one. So,
are we about to have to talk about the top 10 poll? I do have it on our list of stuff to talk about.
Wherever you want to go.
I feel like we're being goaded that way instead.
Okay.
So we'll give you a couple congrats real quick, Raj. Time for a diaper change break. He actually did that right before we went on air.
Yeah, I actually did. Yeah, it was a little after 6 something, so we're good. I'm good for at least another hour or so. So yeah. Nice.
Well, we'll try and make the show go an hour and a half then.
Appreciate it, Gabe.
So we were going to get into the Pac-12, but that comment bears talking about. So the preseason coaches poll came out. Georgia number 1, Michigan number 2, Alabama 3, Ohio State 4, LSU 5. Then rounding out the top 10, USC, Penn State, Florida State, Clemson, Tennessee. Maybe one of the few times I'll ever give this kind of. I don't think Alabama should have been number 3.
Right. You don't think
First
so?
off, didn't win the SEC, didn't win the SEC West. Right. LSU should be ranked above Alabama coming into the year, especially with returning the offense from last year. So that's it. Quite too many questions surrounding it. Didn't last year, or really the last 2 years, didn't kind of go the way you wanted. Alabama should be ranked lower than number 3 to start the year. Obviously, there's no problem with Georgia at number 1. They finally got that right. And Michigan at number 2, and even like Ohio State at number 3, if you're moving Alabama down, I have no problem with any of that.
Look at where TCU is. They just made it to the national championship game, but after Max Duggan's gone, so they know TCU was a one-time thing. So I think we could all agree with that.
Yep. But what are your thoughts on where Alabama's ranked and then the top 5?
I understand. I kind of thought I thought even Ohio State would be ranked higher than us. But
because they have the wide receivers they have.
The wide receiver core, yeah, and I think they're going to beat Michigan this year. I think they're going to win the Big Ten. Excuse me. So I could see Alabama at 5, maybe even 6. And obviously LSU beat us last year. Jaden Daniels is returning. Pretty good defense at LSU. So I could see Alabama at 5 and 6. But as we all know, the season will play out the way it plays out every year. People will move up and down. Georgia's number 1, obviously, defending, reigning, et cetera, champion. They deserve that spot. Looking around, Florida State at number 8. I mentioned this on maybe the previous show, 1 or 2 shows ago. I like the fact that Florida State is somewhat back. I don't always want to say back because sometimes when you say someone's back and they lose a game, then you're like, ugh. You kind of regret that comment.
Or like they're ranked like number 3 in the nation and they lose a super matchup to start the season to the number 1 team, and then they haven't not heard of for like 5 years. Stuff like that.
Well, it's interesting because remember, Florida State plays LSU to start off the season, so that's going to be that's going to be the very first big game.
Yep.
I also noticed I wanted to see where Texas was. They're at 12 because remember we played them on game number 2. So maybe after we beat Texas, maybe we jump up. I honestly don't know. I mean, by that I don't think Georgia or Michigan are going to lose any games, so it's not going to warrant too many big changes.
Wait! You don't think Georgia's going to lose any games?
No, I mean in week 1 or 2.
Oh, okay.
I'll get to that.
Okay.
You already know how I feel, yeah.
Florida State being good. Yep. Interesting. Florida State, would you say at 9, and Clemson is number 10. So
no, Clemson's
I mean, that's clearly their big shot. They win that game, and they win the LSU game, and they're probably making the playoffs. So
that's true.
This is what I agree with. I'm riding with Clemson until LSU proves they can beat them. No, I that's where I'm at. If I had to pick schedules, and then maybe I guess next week or 2 weeks from now, if we're going over different conferences, I'm picking Clemson to beat Florida State.
Cade, this might be a really big year for Cade Klubnik. He had a kind of interesting
Clubber
year
last
last
year,
year.
baby.
Clubber Lang, as Herb calls him. He had an interesting year last year, but this might be his first true season to start off the season as starter since DJ transferred to Oregon State. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not going to pay attention to Oregon. Huh?
Who transferred?
DJ
Jazzy Jeff. Like, if you're not going to use the nicknames, what's the point of even coming up with them?
DJU.
It's like you
transferred to Oregon
pay
State.
attention in the production meetings.
Yeah. He transferred somewhere. He said, okay, maybe I do pay attention to the production meetings. It's not all not like the entire hour. It's kind of boring.
How much do you, in the hour, how many minutes are you actually paying attention?
3 to 4. The other
3 to 4 minutes?
The other 56, I'm just like in a daze, dude. Kind of like sleeping with my eyes open. It's boring. Not gonna lie. Shout out to our production team, though. We love you guys.
Do we?
Hey, one more question before we move on. What do you think about Texas A&M at 25?
It's like a free vote or something. I don't know. I mean, and wait till you see who I gave what their record I gave them this year. So
who A&M?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay.
So that's I feel bad for the Beavers, yes. And that's, I guess, what we were about to talk with next. Don't know if you missed the very, very beginning, anyone. I gave Raj 2 choices. What was sadder, the women losing in the World Cup or the demise of the Pac-12?
Yeah.
So he picked the women, but of course
it's right there. It's right. Oh gosh.
But K Club will make or break easily.
Yeah.
So I think he'd probably do some good things. I think they'll probably put him in the right spots over there. So the demise of the Pac-12.
Yes.
I mean, life comes at you fast.
Everybody's leaving. We
talked about it last week, and like Colorado was leaving, and they were trying to present this rights deal, and it just kept dragging out. And then they bought them a mostly Apple-based plan, and the money wasn't gonna be great, but there were certain incentives they could reach. And I think everybody looked at it and said, this is what we've been waiting like a whole year for it. Yeah. Next thing you know, it's like Washington, Oregon, you're going to the Big Ten to follow USC and UCLA.
I just didn't realize how fast everything was gonna happen. Like once it just seemed like within a matter of days, everybody was in the Big Ten. Like, okay, let's just make the change. So
to me, what happened, Raj, was everybody was like waiting for this last rights deal.
Yeah.
But they had been making calls to other people.
Right.
And because their rights deal, their ESPN and what Fox Sports deal ends next year, they're like, if we have something in place at the end of next year, we have to pay no exit fees. We could just go.
Right.
So Pac-12 has been up against it for a couple of years, knowing that was the deadline. They just didn't work with a sense of urgency. I think they just thought teams would stay. But when that news, the Washington, Oregon news, like I said, they probably looked at the deal and said, all right, we're out. And then Arizona State, and Utah said, well, we've been making calls. We'll go to what's left in the Big 12 and, make our way there. So kudos to, I guess, to the Big 12 to rebounding from losing Oklahoma and Texas.
Just to clarify, who went to the Big 12, just to make sure?
Arizona State, and Utah.
Wow. Well, a shout out to Utah.
So rude, Rod.
Yeah.
So are you saying you're not looking forward to that?
That'll be an interesting little mix. It'll be an interesting mix. The way I feel about this whole situation is, part of it is we all know that college football is regional. So we're just so used to having those West Coast teams, and then if you're a fan or if you're a student on one of these teams, let's say you go to USC, you're used to being able to stay along the West Coast and go to games, whatever games. Go to Oregon, go to the Washington, go to the UCLA games, and you can make those travel means with a couple of dollars. Now, when you see USC and UCLA going to the Big Ten, you're like, okay, USC plays Michigan. Michigan's not right down the street or in the same state with you, or not even along the same coast. How do you make those travel plans as students? I'm pretty sure there's some USC students whose parents have some money and will be able to fund their trips, etc. But that's just going to be a different. That's just going to be a different dynamic to think about. So I hate seeing it. I don't know. I hate seeing the demise of the Pac-12. I liked it where it was. I think it just regionally, I think it was good for college football. But unfortunately, at the end of the day, we all know it comes down to money. So everything comes down to money in these TV deals.
So interesting comment when you're talking about that. The Pac-12, Arizona State is upset. Yeah, I don't blame them. And the not going to West Virginia for games. Yeah, Raj. And
why would you do that
at work today?
Yeah.
The sports that are going to be hurt, it's going to go deeper than football. Like you're just not going to go to this point right here, an Arizona State or Arizona State, West Virginia basketball game on a Thursday night. Like you're not traveling to that game. The only thing that they did well in this was that they'll have at least groupings. Arizona State, Utah, Colorado will probably play each other every year. Washington, Oregon, USC, and UCLA will probably play each other every year. So they will have a small pod of games. But you got to think, like, if I'm in California, like to your earlier point, and, Oregon's recruiting me, and I'm thinking, how many games are we going to go that's not even close to my school?
Right.
Like, it's not, to me, it's not a positive anymore, thinking my family's not going to catch most of my games, At least when Texas and Oklahoma came into the SEC, you could still travel to a lot of those games. So like I have a relative that lives in Texas, and we drive out to see him. It's not that maybe everybody doesn't know. I was trying to hide your identity. So but regional and the SEC at least. And then Mike is following up on that point, only regional conference. So at that point. So Mike and Randy on it as usual. It's well, I guess it's a good time, Raj, then in the middle of this to get to Raj's top 5 list. We need some music. You can't do the music and do the list.
What do you want me to do?
Just sit there. Smile.
All right.
Doodle-doo. All right. Raj, let's give us the top 5 things that you will miss with the Pac-12's demise.
All right. And I'm going to be honest before I get started. It took a long time to think of 5 things that I would actually miss. But I'm going to go, and these are in no specific order. Number 1, the timing of the Pac-12 games.
Whoa. Stop.
Hold on. Okay.
Give it its proper due.
Yeah.
You're going to miss Pac-12 After Dark.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Because if you were like a night owl, and let's just say you were at Applebee's late on a Saturday. Oh my gosh.
My throat was parched. Go ahead.
And you were, let's just say, at Applebee's at a late Saturday night. You could be sitting there having some water and watching a nice football game, a nice Pac-12 football game, because those are the only games that are still on. So I'm going to kind of miss that.
Yes.
I don't like the fact that they came on that late, but I like the fact that there was an option of a late night game, which is always a Pac-12 game. Number 2, The competition. I would say if you think about the Pac-12, I think, and this kind of goes into number 3 as well. We always think about how dominant USC has dominated the Pac-12 over the years, even though Utah's won the past 2 Pac-12 championships, and I think before that it might have been Washington, vice versa. They were still a fairly competitive conference for the most part. You had Oregon, USC, Washington. You had a couple, obviously Utah. You had 3 or 4 good teams out there, just kind of balance it out, as opposed to maybe the SEC where it's usually just, us and Georgia. So I think the competition, I'm going to miss the competition of watching some competitive games. And obviously with them transitioning into the new conference, there might be, some of these teams still might play each other. We'll see what happens down the line. Number 3, Oregon's hope. Every year we go into the season, and Oregon's just supposed to be a great team. Oregon's going to have a great season. They didn't have a bad season last year, but they didn't win the conference, and things usually pan out that way for Oregon. So I'm going to miss them having that hope. I'm pretty sure they're still going to have 1,500 different jerseys throughout the season, though. Green, white, black, orange, pink, whatever the color is. Oh, this
pink jerseys were fire, by the way.
Pink jerseys were fire.
Okay.
Number 4, USC's historic dominance of the conference. Again, this kind of goes on to Georgia, Alabama dominating the SEC. We always, whenever you think about the Pac-12, again, I know Utah won the last 2, but you mainly think of USC as that dominant Pac-12 team. Now with them moving to the Big Ten, with them over there with Ohio State and Michigan, I think USC will still be able to recruit well with the NIL and everything like that, but I can't say USC is going to be the dominant team in the Big Ten with Ohio State and Michigan there. We'll see how this plays out. This is Caleb Williams last year, so hopefully the USC, for their sake, they can win the Pac-12 heading on out. And last but not least, obviously the Rose Bowl. What happens to the Rose Bowl now? You have the Big 12. It's usually the Big 10 versus the Pac-12 champ. I don't know. Yep, exactly. I was waiting to say that one for last. I don't know how they play that out now. I'm not sure.
Can I jump in here?
Yeah, go ahead.
The Rose Bowl was already about dead because they were phased into the playoff. So instead of being a regular, and they were fighting and kicking and screaming to get that, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, they already lost their prime spot. So I don't think it was going to be so the game happened right when it was like sundown or whatever. I think they lost that already, and now they've been phased into the playoffs. So they're going to be hosting playoff games. So I think the Rose Bowl was already dead before this, especially as part of the Pac-12 Big Ten. But this was just like it died the year before this happened anyway. So.
Yeah.
Good point. But here's a good list for you, Raj. Pac-12 basketball. Yep.
Yep.
Utah beating Lincoln Riley. Yep. Late night football game. Pac-12 after dark. Yep. Pac-12 softball. Yep. And watching Lincoln Riley lose. Somehow
we can tell somebody's not a fan of Lincoln Riley.
Yeah. And then this is a good question. Do they make the Big Ten better? Not exponentially. It's like.
Sorry to interrupt you right here, but this question kind of goes into one of my questions of death too. So just remember this question right here that the air raid Mike is asking.
Yeah. I guess it expands your brand.
Yeah.
But as far as football is kind of like Raj said, you're still really, Oregon Ohio State and Michigan right now, and that's still carrying your conference. So it makes you deeper, but I guess in a couple years, it's going to be the Big Ten champ versus the SEC champ for the national championship. So
apparently
I don't think this is good for college football at all. But
unless Houston or SMU just go have undefeated seasons. Okay, sorry.
Yes.
I thought that was
all right. You ready to get into some college football SEC previews?
Let's do it, buddy.
All right, so I tried to put the graphics up on there, but apparently we're out of space, so we can't put them up on the screen. So you just got to trust me on this. Okay?
All right.
I'm gonna start. I did the West. Raj did the East. The only team we're not doing there is Alabama, but you can just assume that we're picking Alabama to win all the games. So next week we'll have Bama beat on here. We would do a whole Alabama preview. So again, if you hate Alabama and you hate us and you want to skip a week, next week is the week to do it.
Okay.
Fair enough. All right. Starting with LSU.
And we're doing just regular season, right? Just regular season.
Just regular season.
Okay, we're not going to forecast. Okay, go ahead.
So they have. Well, you're picking Georgia versus Alabama in the SEC championship.
Yeah, basically.
Okay. So, they had a 9.5 win total, which we picked earlier this year. They start off with Florida State, and where are they playing? At Orlando.
Orlando, the Camping World Classic or whatever that is.
So before we get into that, many Big Ten folks are already surpassed the SEC as top conference. No. So
No, it
I
hasn't.
would take Oklahoma and Texas over all 4 of those schools. Maybe USC gives you a little clout, but UCLA, I think that's kind of in the past.
When's the last time a Big Ten team won the national championship? Was it 2014, the first year of the playoff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
okay.
They're not even really relevant right now. So I'm not going to say that they've surpassed.
And Michigan hasn't won since '97. So
yeah. So yeah, and Ohio State is currently second to Michigan. So let's not. And let's see them win something first versus
last time Ohio State was in there was 2012, and we beat them like 52-24. So
yeah. Did you say 2012 or 2020?
2020.
All right, LSU schedule.
Yes.
Florida State, I've got them with a loss, right? And then beating Grambling and Mississippi State, Arkansas, Ole Miss, Missouri, Auburn, and Army to rack up a great win streak. Was that 7 games I just put them in a row?
Okay.
And looking at LSU's schedule, I was like, I want them to lose somewhere in here on a road game, but it was like at Ole Miss, at Missouri, can't do that, right? So their next loss, they have a bye week, of course, after the Army game. So it's almost like 2 weeks of a bye after Auburn. Then they go to Alabama, which I'm picking them to lose.
Yes.
Revenge for last year.
We got to have it.
Then home against Florida, Georgia State, and home against Texas A&M, who beat them at the end of last year. I have them losing that game again.
Yeah. Against A&M?
I can't explain. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So I have them losing it again.
I don't know how they lost
finish
last
their
year.
season 9-3 and second in the SEC West and below their total of 9.5 games.
9.5. Okay, I can see that happening. Are you going to try to go to the
insanity I was fleeing earlier talking about the Big Ten? I mean, you're not relevant. You're not winning titles.
Right.
You're grabbing schools from other conferences and just hoping them makes you better. A lot of times, like, hey, there's 2 ways to look at it. If those teams are better, then you just add the teams that are going to help beat up on you more and kind of devalue your champ in the end. So now, one thing the playoff will do is whoever wins your conference is going to go.
Yeah.
But you're looking at, depending on how they adjust for losing the Pac-12, Big Ten will have somebody, and then they might have the second best team. So you can almost count on Michigan and Ohio State. One of them is the winner, one of them is the runner-up.
Yeah.
Then or any of these teams probably just lessen their chance of getting one of those spots as far as in that large team.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
All right, so that's my LSU breakdown. 9-3. Raj, who do you got? And there's my
I don't have any fancy printouts that Herb obviously just drew himself. But
if you wouldn't fall asleep during the production meeting, you would have your fancy.
I didn't say I fell asleep. I just said I wasn't paying attention for 56 minutes. Really big difference.
You act like that explanation made that better.
It did. This is sleep. This is not paying attention.
Yeah. Thank you for the breakdown. We appreciate it.
All right. I'm going to start off with the back-to-back national. I almost said your back-to-back.
And Mike, we see your question. We will keep that for the South Carolina section.
I'm going to start off with the back-to-back national champion Georgia Bulldogs. Start off against UT Martin. Then they have Ball State, so that's 2-0. South Carolina, game 3. That South Carolina with Spencer Rattler has a chance to make it somewhat interesting. But I don't think
interesting means like into the third quarter.
Into the third quarter, yeah, they can make it. They can make it close for a little while, but I think Georgia's defense is going to be too much for this, and Georgia will still win by at least 2 touchdowns. Then they have UAB. That's a win at Auburn. Auburn, I think, with them hiring Hugh Freeze, is on the right track, but it's still too early for them to do any damage to Georgia at all. I see Georgia winning that one by 2, maybe even 3 touchdowns. To be honest with you. Kentucky, the Kentucky game is always interesting because Kentucky always has a pretty good ranking around this year. But again, I don't think they're a match for Georgia. So, and then at Vanderbilt. Yeah, real tough game at Vanderbilt. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 7-0 right there. Then they have a week off. Then it's time for the biggest cocktail party in the world when they play Florida in Jacksonville. Years ago, this would have been a great game. Florida has kind of fell off in the past 2 or 3 years. Now they were good in 2020. They made the SEC championship, but the past 2 seasons they've just been kind of horrible. 8-0, 9 against Missouri. I think they'll beat Ole Miss. Lane will try whatever he can and pull some tricks out of his sleeve, but it's not going to work. 10-0. Then they go to Tennessee and play Knoxville. Why are you smiling?
I just remember when we went over this last year, and I'm trying to look at. He's like with the.
I can help y'all with the. Oh yeah,
ahead of the
that'd be
Auburn
awesome.
and Ole Miss games, or the kind of trap games for them.
Yeah. So right now they're about 10-0 if I add these up correctly. Then they go to Knoxville.
Wait, address that question real quick because I know you want to get your big moment. Do you think? Are you worried about the Auburn or Ole Miss games at all for them?
For Georgia?
Yeah.
No, I'm not worried about those at all. I'm not worried. I think Georgia's going to handle those. Yeah. I think Lane Kiffin will make enough mistakes and some ridiculous calls to kind of help Georgia out even more, even though they won't need it. Georgia's defense is just phenomenal. I don't think these two are problems at all. Knoxville. I think Tennessee's going to beat Georgia. I picked this last year. It was like 27-13, something like that. Even though they didn't kill them, they beat them by 2 touchdowns, but if you watch that game, Georgia put the chains on the clamps all over Tennessee. They just whooped Tennessee from 0 to 0.
There's a whole other conversation going on in the chat.
I'm paying attention. But I think Georgia's going to lose in Tennessee. I think Joe Milton's going to come out and have a heck of a game. It's going to be a really, really good game. And I know a lot of people disagree with me. Obviously, Herb does. I think right here, Georgia will be 11 or 10-1, and then obviously they play Georgia Tech. They'll be 11-1. They'll make it to the SEC championship. Well, don't shake your head.
You said it wasn't that close, by the way, Raj.
It was like 27-13. I'm thinking at the final score, they won by a couple touchdowns, but it was a complete beatdown.
The Missouri game was close last year. The Tennessee game.
That was weird. The Missouri game, I can't even explain that. That was just really, really strange. But they shut Hendon Hooker and Jalen Hyatt down, so shout out to Georgia for that.
Yeah.
But I'm picking them to lose to Tennessee. And this is also for entertainment purposes as well. Shout out to Ricky. What's going on, Ricky?
Yeah. Roll Tide. So we still got some questions in there.
Yeah. Sorry, everybody. I'm trying to keep up with this and check in and with my wife and everything. So go ahead, guys.
Yeah. Can Georgia become the first three-peat? And obviously respect out to Dan Beast Media, class act over there, great guy. Good insight, of course, into the Georgia program and college football in general. I mean, they have a good a chance as any.
They have a really good chance.
It's not. I think the number one ranking is well deserved. The defense is going to be a beast. So as long as the offense comes along, whoever ends up at quarterback throughout the year, that I think they're going to be a great team because they have a great chance. It's hard for me to be objective winning because obviously I want Alabama to win. But
right.
If we weren't Bama fans, if we were like Ole Miss fans, then I'd probably just be pulling for Georgia because having a little bit of hope to keep you down there. So, honestly, Raj, here's another congratulations for you, Raj.
Appreciate it, Ricky. I appreciate it, man. Honestly, I want Alabama to win, but I'm somewhat happy if we just keep it in the SEC so we can at least brag about that. And I think that's where it's going to be at the end of the season.
Yeah. So I agree with that.
Yep.
All right, let me get on moving on. And we got one other question that's still about Texas A&M, so they'll get to them next. Team that I think will probably finish second in the West. I went with Arkansas. So starting off with a 3-game win streak at home against Western Carolina, Kent State, and BYU. I think they go to LSU and lose. They beat Texas A&M at home. They go to Ole Miss and win. Then they go to Alabama, of course, and lose because that's just what happens to Arkansas.
Yeah.
They lose. Did I put lose to Mississippi State? That's wrong. Where's my pen? Somebody get my pen.
You know what? Dan Beast Media just said go Hogs. And at first I thought, why would he say that? But I remember when Randy was on our show and you told him, you asked him, that was one of his questions that he said he would be Ark. So yes, I remember that.
So I have them beating Mississippi State, beating Florida, beating Auburn, beating Florida International, and beating Mizzou to end the year. 4, 5,
so what do you think?
8, 9. That's a 10-win season.
That's
not going to happen, though.
That's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen. So,
but I mean, you can't go back and make changes. You already said it. I can't go back and say Tennessee's going to beat Georgia. I already said it. So,
and there's his go Hogs.
How about we do this? How about we write down our predictions and the people in the comments, let's just see. What do you want to do? We have to have like some sort of challenge or something. Whoever has a better, overall record, or whoever picks. What do you want to do, Herb? What do you want to do?
Let's think about off air. We'll announce it next week.
Okay.
During the show. So Arkansas is not having a 10-win season. So something else in here is going to go wrong. So I got to figure out where that is, but they're more like a 8 to 9 win season. So And this was can they? Yes, will be difficult. Odds are certainly against us, more daunting because we think of the last 3 seasons. The team is focused on this year. They always are, but you're dealing with. I always call them kids. No disrespect to anybody, but I'm old as dirt. So, like, if you combine any 2 players on the team, not now that Stetson Bennett's gone, you combine any 2 players on the team, I'm older than both of them combined. So, somebody's gonna go find some like 30-year-old that's on the team, like give everybody one. So, I think that you'll have a certain amount of people that buy into the hype or overlook a game or 2. So it's going to be tough. But are they the best team in the nation? Yes. So do they have a shot? So, and then he's saying, is there a team or is there a game or 2 that could sneak up on them? Mike asking that that means you weren't even listening to Rod saying that Tennessee.
I say Tennessee is the game that could sneak up on them. I would love to say Florida, but we all know that's not going to happen. That was in years past. So I think Tennessee maybe South Carolina. I don't know, but I think Tennessee has the best chance until they get to the SEC championship. So,
all right, who's your next team up, Raj?
I got Tennessee. Since I picked them to beat Georgia, I'm going to go ahead and roll with Tennessee. All right, so Tennessee starts out playing Virginia. That's a win. Then Austin Peay, and then at Florida. I think they're 3-0. Then they play UTSA, University of Texas San Antonio, number 4. I guess that game might be interesting. That only because UTSA is ranked 23.
You just like saying UTSA.
I just like saying UTSA. I'm not going to lie. I love saying UTSA. But I think Tennessee handles them 4-0. Then they play South Carolina 5-0 off. And then they play they host A&M. They host A&M. I'm going to say Tennessee's going to lose that game. I don't know how.
I have them at Tennessee, Raj.
No, I'm saying.
Oh, no, you're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. They're hosting A&M. So I think they're going to lose A&M. I don't know why. I just think this is going to be one of those really weird games where Tennessee just has a bad game and things just don't go their way. So they're going to be 5-1. Then they play at Bama, 5-2. At Kentucky, I think they beat Kentucky, 6-2. Then they play UConn. Wow, that's a tough game. 7-2. Then they play at Missouri, 8-2. Then Georgia, 9-2. I've got Tennessee beating those dogs, 9-2. Then they got Vanderbilt. Tennessee's going 10-2 this year.
And not making the SEC championship game?
Hold on. Well, they're losing to – who do I have them losing to? I have them losing to A&M and Bama and not making the SEC championship. Right.
They beat Georgia, lose 2 games, don't make the SEC championship.
Hey, man. It's weird. Weird how this works. Do you think they're going to beat Georgia?
Who, Tennessee?
Yeah. Yes. Who do you think I'm talking about?
I don't know. No, I don't. So
you can't say I don't know. No, I don't.
No, they're not going to beat Georgia. No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Right.
Milton is going to play so bad he won't even be quarterback by that game.
Hey,
I just think they have Tennessee's number offensively, so I think they'll just stifle them, and it'll probably be like last year, a very boring game. But I'm still taking Georgia by 2 touchdowns over Tennessee. So
it will probably happen, but just for the sake of entertainment, somebody's got to be the bad guy.
Yeah. So, I don't even know if I should post the comments or just let those 2 guys keep talking. Like,
I don't know. I'm trying to keep up. They are going back at it, man. So
they're talking about. So this is Georgia's schedule. South Carolina demands attention. Auburn and Ole Miss. I don't know. I think.
Yeah, I agree 100% with what he says about Auburn. I think Auburn's heading in the right direction. It's just going to take them a few years to kind of get their feet in the mud and kind of win some serious games. South Carolina is a sleeper in a way. I don't know. I got the feeling any given week, someone can upset Big Dog. No pun intended.
Coming in with the dad jokes.
I think there was a pun intended. Yeah.
All right. Is it back to me?
It is back to you. Who you got?
TAMU. And where was that A&M question? How will the Jimbo Fisher Bobby Petrino marriage work? By the way, Nambeast Media said he thinks they'll be better. I wasn't really, I guess, impressed. I had them winning at home to New Mexico.
Oh, wow. Not just playing.
Yeah, shocking. Losing at Miami, winning against UL Monroe and Auburn, losing to Arkansas for no really good reason, and then losing at home to Alabama, going to Tennessee and losing to South Carolina. A nice little 4-game losing streak in the middle of the season. Going to Ole Miss and winning for no good reason there either. Then winning Mississippi State, Abilene Christian, and then going to LSU at the end of the year and losing. 6-6. Jimbo Fisher gets fired. Bobby Petrino takes over as coach.
I could actually see that happening.
Yeah.
With as good as recruiting class as A&M has supposed to have had the past few years, and the turnout that they're receiving on the back end is just the ROI is just not there. And you like how I use that term ROI, business term. Anyway, the ROI is not there, and I can see that happening. I think they're going to have to wipe their hands clean with Jimbo and say, hey, it didn't work out. But if Petrino shows some glimpses on in the offense and says, hey, I can turn things around a little bit, they might replace him.
Yeah. And you got to think with all this, that 3-game stretch where I got them losing 2 out of 3, home against Auburn, home against Arkansas, home against Alabama. They flip a couple of those or go to Tennessee. You're not that far off from like an 8 or 9 win season, which will maybe placate everybody. So,
yep, Jimbo's seat is on fire. We all agree he's on the crispy seat.
And Randy stopped listening to you ever since you talked about
I don't know.
He said, and I was on your guys' show, and this is how you guys disrespect me. So
I'm not disrespecting. We're all just giving our point of view and our opinions. Hey, I'll be the Stephen A. Smith guy. I'll be the Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah. But it's all right there. That's why I think the game will be low scoring and boring. I just don't think Tennessee's going to score.
Yeah.
And I think Georgia will control that game. So we'll see. All right, that's my Texas A&M Aggies.
Awesome. I got South Carolina up next. So South Carolina starts off. This is going to be a good first game. They play North Carolina on Saturday, September 2nd in Charlotte, in North Carolina. Drake May, who might be a Heisman finalist this year if he has a good season, versus Spencer Rattler. I'm gonna say North Carolina is gonna win. I'm gonna pull this one. I'm gonna say North Carolina is gonna win. You know what? No, I'm not.
Did you just argue yourself out of a pick?
I'm going to go with South Carolina. I'm going to go with South Carolina winning, beating North Carolina. It's going to be a good game. That's a really, really good opening weekend game.
Yeah.
Then they play Furman 2-0. Then they play at Georgia. They're going to lose to Georgia 2-1. Mississippi State 2-2. I think Mississippi State is going to pull up, beat South Carolina.
Really?
Then South Carolina plays at Tennessee. That's 3 losses in a row.
And I'm looking through my papers. I'm pretty sure I picked Mississippi State to lose at South Carolina. So.
Oh, well, hey, I got Mississippi State winning. So now they play Tennessee. So they start off 2-0, then they got 3 losses in a row. Then they play Florida. I think South Carolina is going to beat Florida, even up 3-3. At Missouri, 4-3. At A&M, I don't know why, but they're going to lose at A&M. It's going to be 4-4. Then they got Jacksonville State 5-4, Vandy 6-4. Then they play Kentucky. This is a hard one because of the how late of a game this is in the season, and I don't know what Kentucky is going to be looking like. So I'm going to say South Carolina just for the heck of it. So they'll be 6? Was that 6? Yeah, 6-5, and then they host Clemson at the end. I think Clemson will win. I think Cade Klubnik's going to have a pretty good year this year, and then
you just went totally backwards with South Carolina, huh?
I know. I don't know because they always show glimpses, but sometimes they just lose a lot of games they shouldn't have lost. That's what happened last year. They lost a lot of games that they shouldn't have lost. So I have South Carolina at 6-6.
Yeah,
that's wrong. But you were wrong about your first team too. You were wrong about I think Arkansas. So I'm wrong about. I think South Carolina is probably going to win 8 games, but I finished with 6-6, so I'm just going to stick with it for entertainment purposes. Wow. I like saying that for entertainment purposes.
Yeah.
Who you got next? And
going back real quick, no disrespect. So he says there's no disrespect, and this is a solid take, but he just texted me and said your brother's out of his everlasting mind, and I was like, he just had twins, so that's what Randy said to me.
Oh yeah, Randy is set on letting me know that he does not agree with me, and I'm perfectly fine with it.
And Mike's over there backing him up. Mike's over there like, yeah.
Hey, it's all good. We got it's all good.
I mean, but I agree with them. Like every take that they're saying is what's going to happen. Watch the score is going to be exactly the same this year as last year. That's my prediction. Bold prediction.
Yeah.
I got Ole Miss up next. Getting down to the dregs. Ole Miss will start off the year on a 3-game win streak against Mercer, Tulane, and Georgia Tech. Although I really wanted to pick them to lose at Tulane, who's actually ranked like number 23 in the nation. So
okay.
And Ole Miss is like 20. Well, I can't read my chicken scratch. They're right down there. So I wanted to pick them. I'm gonna keep giving the win. They'll go to Bama and lose. They'll come home to LSU and lose. They'll come home for Arkansas and lose. They'll go to Auburn and win. They'll beat Vandy. They'll lose to Texas A&M at home.
Okay.
Just because, and this kind of goes along this, can he win the marquee game? I'm saying no in this one. They're not going to go to Georgia and win either. They'll beat Louisiana Monroe at home, and they'll go to Mississippi or the Egg Bowl and beat Mississippi State. I have them at 7-5, but a very disappointing 7-5, and not having won any of the big games. So to answer Mike's question, no, I don't think they will.
Okay, so what's the final record again?
7-5.
And that's okay.
And Lane Kiffin will be leaving for another job.
Where's he going now?
I don't know, Rod, but something's got to happen.
Yeah.
All right, you run a long time. You got to get through. So when does Lane Kiffin's seat begin to get hot? It's Ole Miss. So
yeah,
where would they if they fire Lane? Who are they going to get? So it's
all right. Randy's chiming in about this Tennessee thing. Good Lord.
Randy said, "I am going to make you regret picking Tennessee."
I'm not going to regret it. Randy, it's okay. I'm not on ESPN. This is hilarious.
Tennessee lost that game because Georgia was better. They controlled the whole game. Like the score it could have been worse. Georgia just didn't feel like making it worse last year.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But I'm not going to spend this time. I'm not defending Tennessee. I don't care.
Yeah. Don't even about it. We'll see what happens.
Who you got?
Huh?
Who you got? Who's your team?
Well, I got Florida next. At time, this might be the last one for my side because due to the time strength, we got to move on.
Are you saying you don't want to go over Vanderbilt's schedule?
I'm not going over Vanderbilt's schedule. No. All right, so I picked Florida. Interesting game, and this is a Thursday night game. Florida starts off at Utah. I missed that one for some odd reason. Anyway, I'm going to pick Utah in that game. Then they play McNeese, so they'll be 1-1. Excuse me. Then they host Tennessee. I think they lose that game. They'll be 1-2. Then they play Charlotte 2-2. At Kentucky, I think they lose that game. They'll be 2-3. Versus Vanderbilt 3-3. At South Carolina 3-4. Georgia 3-5. Arkansas 3-6. At LSU 3-7. Missouri 4-7. Then they play obviously Florida State. So I got Florida ended up at 4-8, and then Napier's out the window.
Randy said Florida can't wait to see this. So they're a mess. Yep.
You know what? For the sake of it, I should have said Florida's beating Georgia just for the heck of it. Florida's a mess. I think Napier's out after this year.
Is Napier out 2 years and out the door?
Yeah. I mean, it's a big fan base. If this was the University of Southern Iowa State, maybe they would keep him around another year, but Florida has a big fan base. They've got a historic program. They want to see things turn around, especially when Florida State's getting really, really good too. So they got to figure out a way to catch up, and Napier's not the right guy.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to give you the Auburn Tigers, who start off with a 3-game winning streak against UMass, Cal, and Samford. And then a nice little losing streak. Go to Texas A&M and lose. They lose against Georgia. Ooh, should I pick that one? No. Georgia, they lose at LSU. They lose to Ole Miss for whatever reason. They do beat Mississippi State, and they go to Vanderbilt and win. Losing to Arkansas, winning at home against their bye week against New Mexico State, and then losing at home to Alabama to end the season 6-6. Would love it if Mississippi State or Vandy could pull off an upset somewhere in there and keep them from being bowl eligible.
Okay.
Florida fires Napier, brings in Stoops. Interesting.
Ooh, okay.
And then he said he doesn't like your Missouri pick.
Florida beat him last year. I think they can do it again.
Yep.
Yeah.
Missouri will be better than some think, maybe, but what does that mean exactly?
Nothing. Not much. I don't think they're going to be competitive in the SEC. So
yeah, and that's really their problem. So if they move to maybe Conference USA, they'd probably be a great team.
Yeah.
So you say you don't want to go over your last two teams? You want to go into the questions?
I'm skipping Yeah, come on. We got to move on. I'm not going to sit up here and talk about Vanderbilt's schedule. I can do Kentucky. You want me to do Kentucky?
Yeah, give us Kentucky real quick.
All right, hold on 1 second. Yeah, but I think Vanderbilt is okay. I don't think anybody's going to miss that one.
Do agree with this. Defense will be stout at Missouri. I just don't know. And they could go back to the Big 12. They probably have more luck right now. So.
Yeah.
I think they will be stout. I just don't, it's Missouri. It's hard to want to pick them to win games,
Right.
If the only argument we have is can they beat Florida? I mean, Florida's a mess too. So
shout out to everybody for commenting too. I like the comments. I like getting things going in the comment section. So this is pretty awesome. All right.
This is a fun show. Anytime we run over because of comments, I've had a good time.
Yes. Yes. If it was empty in the comments, I'd be like, we're not doing something right. All right. Yeah. Kentucky. They start off playing Ball State. Ball State, Eastern Kentucky, Akron, and then at Vanderbilt. I think that's 4-0. And I already did Florida. I forgot if I picked Florida to beat Kentucky. I honestly forgot. I'm gonna say, and with me saying that, I'm just gonna say Kentucky's gonna beat Florida 5-0.
But then Raj. Oh, by the way, not to put any pressure on there, but Kentucky better be second or third in your picks.
I got 5-0. Then they play at Georgia. They're going to lose that one, 5-1. I think they beat Missouri 6-1. Then they play Tennessee. They're going to lose that 6-2. Then Kentucky at Mississippi State. I think I'm going to take Mississippi State in that one.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
No.
Yes, I am.
Fine.
6-3. Then they play Bama 6-4 at South Carolina. I think they'll take South Carolina. I do. But I forgot what I think I picked South Carolina in the first one. So never mind. Let me stick with that. No, I picked Kentucky. I forgot. 6-5, and then at Louisville, I think they beat Louisville 7. I think Kentucky ends up at 7-5. It's the East. Well, we know who's going to come out the East anyway.
Yeah, definitely going to Georgia for sure. I'm thinking undefeated season for Georgia. Interesting, you have them losing the game, but still making the SC championship game. So
yeah,
Raj has some serious respect for. Sorry, mixed the wrong one. Serious for Mississippi State. I feel for Leach. I won't go through their schedule though, but I had them winning like 4 games this year. So
for Mississippi State,
yeah. But I take no pleasure in that, especially with the passing of Leach. So I definitely wish them the best. Eastern Michigan tight end coach will be on the air raid in the coming weeks. So
cool.
Yep, and agree with this. I would love for them to have a good year. Nothing bad to say there. Nothing but respect for Leach. All right, Raj, bring on the questions.
Are you ready?
No, but bring them on anyway.
We got time. We're on the time constraint. All right, work, play, live. If for those of you who don't know, I'm going to give her 3 names. He's going to pick one person he wants to work with, or one person he would rather work with, one he would rather hang out with, and one person who he would rather have be his neighbor. Work, play, live, villains edition.
Okay, bring it.
Lex Luthor.
Okay.
Magneto.
Okay.
And Thanos.
Oh God. Gonna work with Lex Luthor. For sure. He just seems like he'd have that job.
He's very intelligent,
tip-top scape. And if I got on his good side, anybody who doesn't do something well, he'll kill him. I'll live next to Magneto because I just feel like it's stuff like, hey, help me mow the lawn. Okay, I've got it. And can you get this out and help fix up stuff? Like, I feel like that's where his stuff would be.
If you ever got on his bad side, I think he would hide all your cutlery, though.
I can deal with that. I'll have plasticware. And me and Thanos going out. I mean, just imagine that. Hey, man, there's a long line to get in this club. Hey, man, I wish we had a couple more drinks.
Yeah, but you don't want to kill everybody.
As long as it's not me and he,
wow.
I'm just saying, you don't think we'll have a good time?
Okay. I can respect that. I can respect that.
Out.
Question number 2. This kind of goes back to what Mike was mentioning earlier. Out of all the teams leaving the Pac-12, who do you see winning a title in their new conference and how soon?
I'm going to say Utah in the Big 12.
Okay.
Just because I think the competition will be a little weaker since they lost their top 2 teams. I think for the Big 10 teams, it's going to be a little tougher. Maybe they beat up on each other a little bit, and then they still have the hurdle of Michigan and Ohio State, who have a lot of momentum to beat.
Yeah.
So if I had to pick one of these, I'm going to go with Utah, picking some momentum up from, how they play in the Pac-12 and can be better than the Big 12. So I'm going to go with Utah.
That's who I selected too, to be honest with you. I thought USC at first, but
my back on that one.
Yeah, I thought Utah, but I think about USC, but I'm like, man, playing Ohio State and Michigan, and of course, I have to see what their schedule looks like. But that's just going to be tough.
Yep.
All right, we're about a month away from Labor Day weekend. You have to invite 4 NCAA football coaches to your Labor Day weekend party. Maybe it's out on a lake or whatever it is. Which 4 coaches are you inviting? And you can only invite 1 coach per conference. It could be any conference, but only 1 coach per conference. Which 4 coaches are you inviting?
Well, Lane Kiffin is the SEC coach.
Okay. I can see that.
I mean, you can pick whoever you want from the other conferences. I'm taking Lane Kiffin.
Yep.
Probably Lincoln Riley, young guy out at USC. Probably bring some girls along with him.
Oh, wow. You're married, though, so.
Oh, shoot. That's fine.
Hey.
This is going to be if we're talking right now, from the Big 12, I'm taking Sark for obvious reasons.
I knew you were going to say that.
I mean, he ain't in the SEC yet, right? So, bro, it's the off season. We cool.
Oh my gosh.
So I either got to get a Big 10 coach.
You can go Big 10. You can go AAC. You can go
ACC.
ACC. You can go any conference.
I don't like any of those guys, though. No. I guess I'll take Franklin from Penn State.
Why him?
There's no reason. I can't. I'm not like a huge Day fan. Harbaugh kind of gets on my nerves at times.
What about Dabo?
I ain't a Dabo guy.
Okay.
He seems like sometimes he forgets that he's in the college football world and just try to do don't let Lincoln cook my meat. I'm just inviting him there for the USC factor, and he's a young guy. So I'm just hoping he brings some young.
Gotcha.
See, I'm just not a Dabo guy, so he's not going to be my nothing like against him. He's built a great program, but if we're talking about like hanging out outside, no, I'm not. Oh, by the way, going back, definitely Utah. Everybody's with the Utah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But really, man, if you give me Kiffin and Sark, I'm having a good time.
Oh, heck yeah!
The other two people, it's kind of like
just don't give Sark any peer pressure. He's gotta chill out. So
yeah, why are you trying to get him drunk?
Sark will be like the guy like. One more. And then like 2 hours later, he's running around with a shirt
you said
off.
it was September 9th, I'm getting him drunk.
He's running around with like a shirt off and in Speedos, just jumping into the water. Like, okay, yeah. Who was that? Herb. What did you do, Herb? Yeah. Too many White Claws for Sark.
Yep. Yes, sir. All right. That wraps us up.
That's it, bro.
We're like an interesting train wreck, man. I always enjoy it. So. Thank you to all the comments.
Yes, we appreciate everybody.
Randy was out there. Ricky checked in.
Ricky,
I don't know if we lost Big Mike somewhere along the way, but
we may have
some good comments coming in from Big Mike later.
Gabe checked in too.
Gabe, just to give you a hard time. So we always appreciate your fan club from the RFC. Next week we move to Tuesday. Yep. And like I said, it's going to be a Bama heavy show. Bama Beat will join us going forward for the fall. We'll be on the Tuesdays at 7. So we'll be able to recap some NFL, some college football. And shout out to E, who usually does some NBA stuff for us. Had little things going on tonight. Definitely hope everything is well. Our well wishes to him.
Of course.
For sure. And thanks, guys, everybody. We might give you a hard time about the comments, but, man, we love the comments.
Oh, yeah, we love it. We love it. We're always joking around.
Yeah, so we definitely appreciate all the comments. Randy, I hope you are here after the Tennessee.
Oh yeah, Randy will be here.
We will have to have him on.
We got to have Randy back on. Yes,
we have to talk about that one. So no, that was one of our best shows. So no thine enemy.
No thine enemy.
If you're here next week, we would love to have.
That's that Game of Thrones talk right there.
Yeah. So appreciate everybody. Appreciate you listening live, or if you're checking us out on the replay for the Herb and Raj pod. Raj. Dad, good over there? Herb? You gonna catch a nap or you gonna change some diapers?
I'm not catching a nap, but I will be in bed within the next 2 or 3 hours. So I'm gonna go check on them. I haven't eaten dinner yet. I gotta go eat.
Yeah,
and then
same.
then I'll check in on that.
All right, for the Herb and Raj podcast. Appreciate everybody tuning in. We will see you next week at our new time. And as always, roll Tide.